Garbarino coming back in. No. All right, we are live on YouTube. We're ready to start.
Very good. It is still 10 a.m. and I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Board of Directors of Friday, 16th of December, 2022. Before we begin, please note this meeting is live streamed on YouTube, as you've just heard, and recorded. Members of the public are encouraged to watch and listen to the meeting on YouTube or by dialing into 415-569-6446 for the audio of this meeting. If you would like to provide public comment in today's meeting and have not done so already, please call 415-569-6646 and let the facilitator know you would like to provide public comment. I appreciate everyone's patience as we move through today's meeting. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Thank you. Good morning again, everyone. Starting with Director Arnold. Oh.
Present.
Thank you. Director Conroy.
Present.
Director Garbarino.
Present.
Director Giudice.
Here.
Director Grosval.
Present.
Director Hernandez.
Here.
Director Maston.
Here.
Director Parr.
Present.
Director Rabbit. It's absent. Director Rodoni. Director Rodoni is absent. Director Snyder.
Present.
Director Stephanie.
Present.
Director Thier.
Here.
Second Vice President Hill.
Present.
First Vice President Cochran.
Here.
And President Theriault.
Here.
Thank you. You have a quorum. Really quickly, I'm going to confirm staff. Dennis Mulligan.
Present.
Joe Wire.
Yes.
Ava Bauer-Furbush.
Present.
Kim Manolius.
Morning.
Dave Rivera.
Good morning, Present.
Mona Babauta.
Present.
Jim Swindler.
Present.
And Kelly Hopper.
Good morning.
Great. Thank you. That confirms staff on the line. I'll turn it back to you.
Thank you. And thanks everyone for joining us this morning. Please be patient as we go through today's board agenda. My colleagues, please be reminded to mute your microphones and remember to unmute them when we open up for directors' discussion. And if you don't unmute them, we will remind you. If we have directors calling in by phone, please use your mute button or *6 to unmute yourself. I'll ask for any questions or comments on items on the agenda items. Click on the raised hand function on your device if you have a question, or press *9 for the raised hand function if joining by phone. If there are any questions, the secretary or I will call on you accordingly. If we missed your raised hand, please speak up or raise a hand and wave it madly. Following any discussion, we'll take the appropriate roll call vote. If you are not speaking, again, please remember to mute your phones to minimize the background noise on today's meeting. Please follow along by referring to page numbers located on the bottom right-hand corner of your meeting packet. I will, as I often do, apologize in advance in case there's noise on the street outside my window, because I'm going to leave my microphone open mostly. Director Garbarino, please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Before we go on to public comment under item 4, Madam Secretary, we were at 2. How many do we have now?
We still have 2, but after we call on the 2 speakers, I believe Justine will ask for a moment to see if there's any others, just in case. We just started and there may be others that have joined the call.
Okay, so 3 minutes per speaker then, since we have a limited number. Madam Secretary, and let's go on with the public comment.
Okay, thanks. We're going to move on to agenda item 4, which President Theriault mentioned is public comment for any and all items on today's agenda. If you wish to speak on an item, please speak to it now. Justine, go ahead and introduce our first speaker.
Good morning. Thank you. Our first speaker this morning is Kimberly Renee Gamboa.
Kimberly Renee?
Good morning. My name is Kimberly Renee Gamboa, and I am holding one of my favorite photos of my 18-year-old son, Kyle Emerson Gamboa, smiling from ear to ear in his school class picture. Kyle jumped off the Golden Gate Bridge on September 20th, 2013 at 11:45 a.m. Suicide touches everyone, and it seems like suicide is becoming more prevalent every day. By you, the district, choosing to install the Golden Gate Bridge suicide deterrent, you are making a huge difference in people's lives every day, whether it's their own personal life or the life of their loved ones. You are saving lives. I want to thank you again for funding and constructing the suicide deterrent. I truly believe that we may never know how far-reaching the positive impact of installing the suicide deterrent will be, but it is one of the most caring and compassionate actions an organization can demonstrate. Thank you. I hope you have a happy holiday season.
Thank you, Ms. Gamboa, so much, and happy holiday to you and your family as well, knowing that that's difficult. Ms. Bach, the next speaker, please.
Our next speaker is David Pilpel. David, go ahead.
Great. You can hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Great. Thanks. Thank you for hearing my comments yesterday and today on a variety of topics. Briefly, if the elevator is not in service next year, if and when in-person meetings resume, I'm thinking that Fort Mason or Marina Middle School or somewhere in the Marina area of San Francisco near the toll plaza may be best, but I will leave that to others to sort through that list and the access and tech issues around that. On item 5A4, the minutes on page 29, just one minor correction relative to my public comment in the middle of the page. I think it should say the following individual. There's only one of me, and I think that's probably enough. On item 6A, the general manager's report. And otherwise the minutes are great, and thanks to Amaret's staff on the minutes. On the general manager's report, COVID is certainly not over. There are other health concerns that I'm sure are affecting district employees and the public generally. So yeah, it's still quite an issue. For some reason, I just noticed this prior to the meeting. On the agenda at the top of page 2, the attorney's report is indented but didn't get the correct designation. So I think that's actually 6B, and the district engineer's report is actually 6C. I don't think it's fatal to the agenda or the meeting, but I just noticed that. On 10D, I don't anticipate making comments on the officer selection for next year, but you might allow public comment after the report and prior to taking action. And finally, the next regular meeting of the board is in 6 weeks, which is a relatively long time. Happy holidays. And I was thinking about Director Thier, and with her, we always have a holly day. There you go. Thanks very much.
Mr. Pilpel, that's a dad joke, even if you're a dad or not. Ms. Bach, thank you, Mr. Pilpel, and happy holidays to you too. Ms. Bach, do we have anyone else? Do you want to take another run at the line?
I would like to take another poll, if you don't mind.
Please.
Thank you, President Serio. President Serio, we do have one more speaker, Shane Weinstein, this morning.
Thank you.
Shane, go ahead.
Okay, President Terrio, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yes, we can.
Okay, oh, perfect. President Terrio and all the board of directors, staff, I very simply wanted to call today and say happy holidays to all of you and all of your family, to health and happiness going forward in 2023. I do know that everybody brings their A game every day to try to make this place the best place for themselves and the employees and the whole operation. So I very quickly just wanted to call and say happy holidays to you and your family, and look forward to working with everybody to make this place best place it can be. Talk to you soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Weinstein. Happy holidays to you. It is good working with you too. Ms. Bach, anyone else?
We have no other speakers this morning. Thank you.
Thank everyone. Thank everyone then for their comments. And so, Mr. Mulligan, that was a pretty calm set of comments there. Do you have anything you want to say with regard to them?
As always, I want to thank Ms. Gamboa for her thoughtful comments and for her advocacy for, helping keep us on the right path with respect to the net. I'd like to thank Mr. Pilpel for his suggestions for a potential meeting location, and as always for his eagle eye in reviewing all the district's documents. His comments are always appreciated. And for Mr. Weinstein, very much appreciate him calling in. And for all three speakers, I just want to say happy holidays to them and their families, and I hope they have a wonderful time. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mulligan. That is it for public comment then. Madam Secretary, next item on the agenda, please.
Thank you. We're going to move on to item 5 to approve the consent calendar, including approval of the minutes from the committee and board meetings in November. I've noted the extra S that Mr. Pilpel pointed out, so I'll make sure to correct that in my final version, as well as ratification of previous actions by the auditor controller. And that consent calendar packet is located in pages 5 to 31. I'm here to answer any questions.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Are there questions or corrections from board members on the consent calendar? I am seeing none. So may I have a motion to approve the consent calendar with Mr. Pilpel's deleted S?
I'll move the item, Par. Second.
There's a second. And you have those, Madam Secretary. So a roll call vote, please.
Thank you. The first and second on item number 5, starting with Director Arnold.
Aye.
Director Conroy.
Aye.
Director Garbarino.
Aye.
Director Giudice.
Yes.
Director Grosboll.
Aye.
Director Hernandez.
Aye.
Director Maston.
Aye.
Director Parr.
Aye.
Director Rabbit is absent. Director Rodoni.
Aye.
Thank you and welcome. Director Snyder.
Aye.
Director Stephanie.
Aye.
Director Thier.
Aye.
Second Vice President Hill.
Yes.
First Vice President Cochran.
Yes.
And President Terrio.
Yes.
Thank you. You have 15 ayes.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. 15 ayes. The motion passes. Next item, please, then.
We'll move on to agenda item number 6A, and that's the report of the general manager. And this staff report can be found on pages 33 to 41 of the packet. I want to point out that it was replaced earlier this week and reposted online. We had another employee recognition to add to the report, so that's exactly what changed. Dennis is here, and he's going to proceed with his report. Go ahead, Dennis.
Thank you, Madam Secretary, President Terrio, members of the board, members of the public. My written report is before you, but first I would like the board's indulgence to take an action item, and that's to approve a revision to the 2022 Master Ordinance for parking lots at the Golden Gate Bridge. The need for this arises from a staff mistake. We are human. And on October 22nd, the Board of Directors approved actions to amend the Master Ordinance to revise parking hours and rates for the parking lots at the bridge, as well as at other facilities such as the Larkspur Ferry Terminal. And historically, the Bridge District has waived parking fees on holidays at the Larkspur Ferry Terminal because we have little or no service. However, the bridge is typically quite busy during holidays, so we do have parking fees at the bridge. The staff report inadvertently had language that applied to Larkspur waiving parking fees on holidays and inserted in such a way that it also applied to the bridge. We wish to correct that, particularly in light of the upcoming fiscal cliff. So the change would be to modify parking privileges and restrictions, subsection 3A, parking facilities at the Golden Gate Bridge, to delete the third paragraph and replace it with the following text, which is basically parking fees apply on district observed administrative holidays. There's parentheses and it lists holidays. And at a prior meeting, Mr. Philpott pointed out that that list, depending on what happens at a later agenda item, may need to be amended to include an additional holiday. However, the generic language is that parking fees will apply on district observed holidays at the toll plaza. And so I respectfully request a motion and action on that.
So before we go on with the rest of the director's report, is there a motion from the board to correct the revision or to approve a revision that corrects the 2022 master ordinance for parking lots at the Golden Gate Bridge as the director has stated?
Mr. Chairman, I'll move that.
I see a motion. I see a second. Is there discussion from members of the board? I hear no discussion. I'm going to ask, actually, although I don't see this in front of me, do we need public comment on this?
We do not. We actually had that included earlier in our discussion. The only one we have left for public comment will be under attendee.
Very good. Thank you. So then, Madam Secretary, let's do a roll call vote.
Thank you. Voting on item 6A1, and we have Director Arnold,
Aye.
Director Conroy,
Aye.
Director Garbarino,
Aye.
Director Giudice,
Yes.
Director Grosboll,
Aye.
Director Hernandez,
Aye.
Director Maston,
Aye.
Director Parr,
Aye.
Director Rabbit is absent, Director Redoni,
Aye.
Director Snyder,
Aye.
Director Stephanie,
Aye.
Director Thier,
Aye.
Second Vice President Hill,
Yes.
First Vice President Cochran,
Yes.
and President Terrio.
Yes.
Thank you. That's 15 ayes.
I got 15 ayes. We're a little farther from the fiscal cliff. Mr. Mulligan, you don't get away so easy. Continue with your report, please.
Thank you, President Terrio. My written report is before you and I'm available to answer any questions. I would highlight a couple of items. One is that Artemis Davenport, our DVE officer, was recognized by the Minority Transportation Officials, COMTO, Northern California section, as Member of the Year. And so I did want to draw attention to that. Ms. Davenport administers a DV program for contracting opportunities, and she works passionately assisting small and or disadvantaged businesses in competing for contracting opportunities with the district. And it was wonderful to see her efforts recognized by her colleagues throughout the Bay Area. I would then like to point out, yes, please applaud. Thank you so much. She's well deserving of all the recognition she receives and much, much more. I always highlight the COVID pandemic because we are still having lingering impacts of that. In general, each week, revenues from tolls and fares are down about $1 million as compared to the same week pre-pandemic. My written report highlights that for the week of November 27th, they were down $900,000. However, more recently, the week of December 4th, they were down $1.1 million. So that 1 million number is unfortunately easy to remember, and it is about where we're bouncing around. This time of year, there's more variability from one year to the next for the same week because of weather. We do have a weather component for our transit system as well as bridge traffic that we have seen historically. And so there's more variability, but in general, we're still down at $1 million. With respect to travel in the Golden Gate corridor between Marin and Sonoma to San Francisco, the travel that's principally down is commute traffic. Recreational travel is back. Weekend travel is back. But what we're not seeing is is commute travel. And that's going to be a longstanding issue to be resolved for the region, working with downtown San Francisco. Currently today, there's a 25% vacancy rate for office space in downtown San Francisco. The amount of vacant office space would fill 20 Salesforce towers. So our fortunes are tied to the fortunes of San Francisco. So in the coming year, we'll be working with the city and county of San Francisco, the business community and transit operators to do whatever we can to help downtown San Francisco bounce back. Because until it does, we'll not know what the new normal is for travel in San Francisco. Every other week now, the MTC, the Metropolitan Transportation Commission, partners with the Bay Area Council, and they conduct research of employers on workers returning to the office. So there's a link in my report to that. It's important to note what that doesn't talk about, though, is how they're utilizing their office space, whether they're trying to sublease office space or whether they're reducing their headcount, which is an ongoing concern. So I do want to draw your attention to that. It is in my report. There's a lot of other information in my report, but I will jump to presentations. This month, we have a presentation of a 20-year service award to Sylvia Calderon. Sylvia joined the district as a bus operator on December 5th of 2002. There's a typo in my report. It's probably the only typo that Mr. Pilpel did not find in all of our documents. But she joined us on December 5th, 2002. She's been with us for 20 years. We want to recognize her for her good service and safe driving. Then the district has an Employee of the Month committee, which is comprised of employees, not managers. And the Employee of the Month committee selected Mr. Donald Witten Jr. as the Employee of the Month for December 2022. Mr. Witten is recognized for his professionalism, his excellent customer service, his resourcefulness, and his consistent positivity. His work ethic and upbeat approach make work environment much more enjoyable for everyone that works with and around him. He joined the district as a storekeeper in the bus division on March 25th of 2019. He worked for a while in our ferry division until our bus division was able to get him back. Prior to joining the district, he was a general manager for a Napa auto parts store in Napa, California for 23 years. Mr. Witten was born in Burlingame. He completed his early education years in San Bruno, and he's been a resident of Vacaville since 1990. In his free time, Mr. Witten enjoys spending time with his family, motorcycles, and water sports, and he is proud to be an ASE certified parts specialist. That concludes my report, and I'm available to answer any questions that you might have.
Thank you, Mr. Mulligan. Are there directors with questions or comments on the general manager's report? Director Tier.
Yes, I just had a really quick comment. I just wanted to congratulate Ms. Davenport and also sing her praises. I have seen her in action since well before I was a board member at different DBE events and other industry events, and she's amazing. She's an asset to the district, and she always goes the extra mile to help small businesses with any questions or anything they might need. So I just wanted to thank Ms. Davenport for her work and let her know that her recognition is very, very well deserved.
Thank you, Director Thier. Ms. Davenport is always impressive when she comes before us. Director Hill.
I just wanted to comment. I had the pleasure of working with her for a few days at the APTA convention. And we split off different classes and things like that. She's just an absolutely wonderful person and just a real asset for the Golden Gate Bridge District. Thank you very much for the opportunity to work with her. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Director Hill. And Director Hernandez.
Thank you, Mr. President. Congratulations to both Mr. Witten and also Ms. Calderon, and a special thanks, of course, to Tima Davenport, who is an invaluable resource here and a wonderful person. Thank you to everyone for what you do for the district, and happy holidays to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Hernandez. Any other directors with questions or comments on the director's report? I am seeing none. Madam Secretary, are you seeing any?
I see no hands up.
Then let's move along to the next item on the agenda.
All right, thank you. We're going to move on to the next item, 6B, which is report of the attorney, and Kim Manolius' monthly staff reports found on page 43, and Kim is here to present his report. Go ahead, Kim.
Thanks, Amaret. As Amaret said, my report's before you. I'm happy to answer any questions. And just as a heads up, we'll have two closed sessions at the end of the meeting today. One is for an existing litigation matter called Walker versus Golden Gate Bridge, and the other is for a potential or anticipated litigation matter with Chimmick Construction Company. I'm happy to take any questions. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Manolius. Are there directors with questions or comments for Mr. Manolius? This time I'm seeing no hands. Madam Secretary, are you seeing any?
I see no hands.
Then let's move along to the next item.
All right, we're going to move on to 6C, and that's the report of the chief engineer. And that report can be found in the Building and Operating Committee meeting packet as agenda item number 5. Ava Bauer-Furbish is here to present her report. Ava, go ahead.
Thank you, Amoret. President Terrio and members of the board, my written report is before you. And today I would like to highlight status of some of the projects that are presented in my report. First, starting with the suicide deterrent construction, I would like to give a brief status of where we are with the net installation. So on the suspension bridge, the contractor has completed installation of 95% of the net length in the south half of the main span, and 95% of the net in the north half of the main span has already been unrolled and attached with temporary straps to the border cables. In the south side span, the contractor started installation of the border cables between the net supports. And in the north back span, while 40 or 46 net supports have been installed, the installation of the border cables has not yet begun. And finally, at the North Tower, the contractor started installation of work access platforms that will provide support to the net installation at the tower. And moving to the approaches, at the approach structures, the contractor is proceeding with the installation of the net supports. This work continues on the east side of the south approach viaduct, the north approach viaduct, and also the Fort Point Arch. And finally, as I reported before, the west side of the north approach viaduct, at that location, the net installation is completed 100%. Moving on to the Toll Plaza Administration Building elevator repairs project. As I mentioned at the Building and Operating Committee yesterday, we have a certain setback with our schedule. The contractor informed us that there will be a delay in delivery of the new elevator control panel equipment. This delay is estimated at about 4 weeks, which will in turn delay completion of the project. So the currently estimated best scenario forecasts the completion of the elevator in late March. And then moving on to the status of the Larkspur Ferry Terminal dredging. Today, the contractor has completed dredging on all berths and in the turning basin, and is working on finalizing dredging in the navigation channel. We hope that this will be completed next week. And finally, we had some setback with the suicide deterrent system rescue training net construction project. On the bid opening day, we received no bids. So my staff reached out to various contractors, to those who pulled the bid documents and those who did not. And we found that there were two categories of contractors: those who are so busy that they cannot take on any additional work. And some of the contractors simply missed our advertisement. So they indicated that they may be interested if we are to bid if we re-advertise the project, and we scheduled the re-advertisement, excuse me, for the next Tuesday. So with this, I will be happy to answer any question the board may have for me.
Are there questions from the board for Ms. Bauer-Furbush? I am seeing none. Madam Secretary?
I see no hands up.
Thank you, Ms. Bauer-Furbush. Madam Secretary, let's keep going.
Okay, we're going to move on to item 8 since there are no other reports under item number 7. And 8A is the report of the Transportation Committee meeting on Thursday, December 15th. And that summary of recommendation is for this meeting can be found on page 47 of your packet.
Thank you. The action item listed under 8A was discussed at yesterday's Transportation Committee meeting at a little bit of length. before coming to the full board for action today. Chair Arnold, please begin your committee's report to the board.
Thank you. Before I introduce this item, I would like to thank the staff for the presentation at the committee meeting yesterday. You can tell a lot of thoughtful work went into this document, and for us to complete this report with so many unknowns ahead speaks to our district's flexibility to adapt to anything thrown our way. That said, I would like to present item 8.A.1. To adopt the final short-range transit plan for fiscal years 2022 to 2023 through 2027-2028 for submission to the Metropolitan Transportation Commission as presented by staff and as detailed in the staff report, and I so move.
Thank you for the motion. Chair Arnold, second. There's a second I heard already. Okay. Questions or comments from board members on item 8A1? I see none. Again, Madam Secretary, do you see any?
I see none.
Then let's do a roll call vote.
All right, thank you. Voting on item 8A1 with a first and second, starting with Director Arnold.
Aye.
Director Conroy.
Aye.
Thank you. Director Garbarino.
Aye.
Director Giudice.
Yes.
Director Grosbol.
Yes.
Director Hernandez.
Aye.
Director Maston.
Aye.
Director Parr.
Aye.
Director Rabbit is absent. Director Rodoni.
Aye.
Director Snyder.
Aye.
Director Stephanie.
Aye.
Director Thier.
Aye.
Second Vice President Hill.
Yes.
First Vice President Cochran.
Yes.
And President Terrio.
Yes.
Thank you. You have 15 ayes.
Thank you. 15 ayes. The motion passes. Chair Arnold, anything else for us?
That concludes my report.
Thank you very much, Chair Arnold. Madam Secretary, next thing.
We're going to move on to item 8B, and that's report of the Building and Operating Committee meeting of Thursday, December 15th. Summary of recommendations for this meeting is on page 49 of your meeting packet.
Once again, the item under 8B1 was discussed at yesterday's Building and Operating Committee meeting. Before coming before us today, Chair Garbarino, your turn for a report.
Thank you, President Terrio. But before I introduce my item, it's very important that I thank the staff for yesterday's in-depth and phenomenal presentation at our committee meeting. The presentation was a culmination of years of hard work by everyone involved. From our staff, consultants, and the various community groups and agencies to the city of San Rafael. So many people were involved in getting us to today. So I'm very proud to announce that the Building and Operating Committee has one very important item to recommend today, and that is approval of item 8B1 to adopt the final environmental impact report, approve findings and approve a mitigation monitoring and reporting program, certify the documentation that meets all of the requirements of the California Environmental Quality Act, and approve the project and selection of the move whistle stop alternative as the preferred project alternative as detailed in the staff report, and I so move.
That was a mouthful, Chair Garbarino. Thank you for the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second the item.
A couple of seconds there. You'll grab one, I'm sure, Madam Secretary. Questions or comments from board members on item 8B1? Once again, I see none. Once again, Madam Secretary, do you see any?
I see none.
Then let's have a roll call vote.
Thank you. Voting on 8B1 with a first and second, starting with Director Arnold.
Aye.
Director Conroy.
Aye.
Director Garbarino.
Aye, happily.
Director Giudice.
Yes.
Director Grosbol.
Yes.
Director Hernandez.
Aye.
Director Maston.
Aye.
Director Parr.
Aye.
Director Rabbit's absent. Director Rodoni.
Aye.
Director Snyder.
Aye.
Director Stephanie.
Aye.
Director Thier.
Aye.
Second Vice President Hill.
Enthusiastic, yes.
First Vice President Cochran.
Yes.
And President Terrio.
Yes.
Thank you. We have 15 ayes.
15 ayes, motion passes. Chair Garbarino, anything else for us?
Mr. President, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Chair Garbarino. Madam Secretary, next item on the agenda, please.
Next item is 8C, and that's the report of the Finance Auditing Committee meeting of Thursday, December 15th. And that summary recommendation for this meeting is on page 51 of your packet.
Thank you. Directors, the action item in 8C was discussed also at yesterday's Finance Auditing Committee meeting. Before coming before you today, Vice Chair Parr has kindly agreed to fill in for Chair Rabbit, who was unable to attend the board meeting today. Before I turn it over to Vice Chair Parr for her report, I think there are directors who need to recuse themselves. So, Director Snyder, I'll start with you.
Yeah, I'll have a conflict, so I'll recuse myself. I'll step out.
Thank you. Director Hernandez.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Mr. President. I will also recuse.
Okay.
Thank you. Is there one more? Director Grossbowl.
I'm going to put Director Snyder, Hernandez, and Grosboll into a waiting room while we take this action. Let me put this one.
Very good. Okay. Thank you. And I'll wait for just a second for them to disappear.
All right.
All right, we're set. Then, Vice Chair Parr, now it's time for you to go ahead.
No, you're muted.
I am. Well, that doesn't make a very good report if I'm muted. Thank you, President Terrio. The Finance Auditing Committee recommends the approval of item 8C1 to approve premium rates for the Golden Gate Bridge Highway and Transportation District's vision, dental, and life insurance and employee assistance plans for 2023 plan year at an overall estimated renewal cost of $2,990,000, with the understanding that requisite funding is included in the fiscal year 2022-23 operating budget and will be budgeted accordingly in the fiscal year 2023-24 operating budget as detailed in the staff report. And this is with a lot of negotiations by our staff to keep the prices down as much as they can. And I so move.
Second.
There's a motion and a second, just like that, Madam Secretary. Are there board members with questions or comments on item 8C1? And I see none. And as usual, I will ask you, Madam Secretary, do you see any?
I see none as well.
Then time for roll call vote.
Thank you. Voting on item 8C1 with the first and second, starting with Director Arnold.
Aye.
Director Conroy.
Aye.
Director Garbarino.
Aye.
Director Giudice.
Yes.
Director Grosboll is recused. Director Hernandez is also recused herself. Director Maston.
Aye.
Director Parr.
Aye.
Director Rabbit's absent. Director Rodoni.
Aye.
Director Snyder's recused. Director Stephanie.
Aye.
Director Thier.
Aye.
Second Vice President Hill.
Yes.
First Vice President Cochran.
Yes.
And President Terrio.
Yes.
Thank you. You have 12 ayes.
12 ayes. We have retained a quorum after the recusals. We have 12 ayes. The motion passes. Vice Chair Parr, thank you again for stepping in. Is there any other business for us today?
My pleasure. That concludes my report, President.
Thank you, Vice Chair Parr. Madam Secretary, next thing.
Thank you. We're going to move on to 8D, and that's the report of the Rules Policy Industrial Relations Committee meeting of this morning, Friday, December 16th. And the summary of recommendation for this meeting can be found on page 53 of your packet.
Thank you. Do we have the three recused, all three of the recused board members back on, Madam Secretary?
Yes, we do.
Then what I'll do is ask for Chair Hernandez to begin her report, noting first that this too was discussed this morning in this case. Chair Hernandez.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Good morning, colleagues. The Rules, Policy, and Industrial Relations Committee, as the President just said, met this morning to consider action to adopt a Juneteenth holiday. Colleagues, you may remember that this item came to the Rules Committee on a previous occasion, and it was decided that some refinement was needed to appropriately and respectfully honor the holiday, and to also accurately reflect the values of the district as to our employees. So I think we achieved that. So thank you to staff and Rules Committee colleagues. And now I present the item. The Rules, Policy, and Industrial Relations Committee met earlier this morning and is recommending approval of Board Agenda Item number AD1 to approve for all Golden Gate Bridge Highway and Transportation District employees and officers, effective January 1, 2023, the federal holiday of Juneteenth on June 19th as a district observed paid holiday. And also to authorize staff to engage in the meet and confer process with represented employee bargaining units. And also to update applicable district policies accordingly as detailed in the staff report, and I so move.
There is a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There is a second. Questions or comments from board members on this matter? I see none. Madam Secretary.
I also see none.
Then a roll call vote.
Thank you. Voting on item 8D1 with the first and second, starting with Director Arnold.
Aye.
Director Conroy.
Aye.
Director Garbarino.
Aye.
Director Giudice.
Yes.
Director Grosboll.
Aye.
Director Hernandez.
Aye.
Director Maston.
Aye.
Director Parr.
Aye.
Director Rabbit is absent. Director Rodoni.
Aye.
Director Snyder.
Aye.
Director Stephanie.
Aye.
Director Thier.
Enthusiastically, aye.
Second Vice President Hill.
Yes.
First Vice President Cochran.
Yes.
And President Tirio.
Yes.
Thank you. You have 15 ayes.
15 ayes, motion passes. Chair Hernandez. Anything else for us today?
No, Mr. President, that's all I have. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chair Hernandez. Madam Secretary, let's go on, please.
Thank you. We're going to move on to item 8E, and that's the report of the Governmental Affairs and Public Information Committee meeting of Friday, also this morning, December 16th. And that summary recommendation for this meeting can be found on page 55 of your packet.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Colleagues, the item before us under 8E was also discussed earlier this morning at Governmental Affairs and Public Information Committee meeting before coming before you today. Chair Cochran, your turn to report.
Thank you,
President Terrio.
Through the chair, this is Anne Marie Conroy. I'm recused from this item.
Thank you. I'll give you a second to get off. Madam Secretary, tell me when we're ready to go ahead.
Got it. I'll put you on hold, Director Conroy. All right, ready to go.
All right, now please.
All right, thank you, President. This morning we met the Government Affairs and Public Information Committee and recommend that board agenda item number 8E1 approve the implementation of the district's 2023 legislative platform as presented by staff and the attached to the staff report. And I so move.
Thank you, Chair Cochran. Are there directors with questions or comments on this matter? I see none. Madam Secretary, you see none, I'm sure.
Yes, I see none.
And the roll call vote, please.
I need to go back to get a second.
Oh, sorry. Is there a second? There's very seconds.
Okay, thank you. We're going to 8E1 with the first and second, starting with Director Arnold.
Aye.
Thank you. Director Conroy has recused herself. Director Garbarino.
Aye.
Director Giudice.
Yes.
Director Grosboll.
Aye.
Director Hernandez.
Aye.
Director Maston.
Aye.
Director Parr.
Aye.
Director Rabbit is absent. Director Rodoni.
Aye.
Director Snyder.
Aye.
Director Stephanie.
Aye.
Director Thier.
Aye.
Second Vice President Hill.
Yes.
First Vice President Cochran.
Yes.
And President Tirio.
Yes.
Thank you. You have 14 ayes.
14 ayes, it passes. We were speeding along so nicely through this meeting. I was tempted to take it too fast. Madam Secretary. Chair Cochran, first of all, do you have anything else to report?
We have nothing else, Mr. President. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair Cochran. Then, Madam Secretary, next item, please.
Thank you. I have Director Conroy returning into the room. I just wanted to make sure she's back. Okay, thank you. We'll move on to item 10A. You're welcome. We have no items under 9. We're going to move to 10A, which is relative to conducting remote committee and board meetings. I'm again before you seeking the board's approval to adopt a resolution to allow us to continue these remote meetings in accordance with Assembly Bill 361 and until the sunset of the governor's state of emergency on February 28, 2023, with the understanding that the board's going to consider it one more time at our meeting in January, on January 27th. We are working now to secure a location based on what we heard from our engineer, and well, there'll be more details on that. The president and I will continue to work on that, and we will brief the board when we have more information as to the exact location for the March meeting. And I respectfully ask for approval.
Thank you. Prior to that, are there questions or comments from board members on this matter? I see none. Is there a motion to honor and fulfill the secretary's request?
So moved.
Second.
Motion, and there's a second. Madam Secretary, the vote, please.
Thank you. Voting on item 10A with the first and second, Director Arnold.
Aye.
Director Conroy.
Aye.
Director Garbarino.
Aye.
Thank you. Director Giudice.
Yes.
Director Grosboll.
Yes.
Director Hernandez.
Aye.
Director Maston.
Aye.
Director Parr.
Aye.
Director Rabbit is absent. Director Rodoni.
Aye.
Director Snyder.
Aye.
Director Stephanie.
Aye.
Director Thier.
Aye.
Second Vice President Hill.
Yes.
First Vice President Cochran.
Yes.
And President Tirio.
Yes.
Thank you. You have 15 ayes.
15 ayes. This one passes as well. Madam Secretary, on we go.
We're going to move on to another kind of COVID-related action, and that's 10B, which is a discussion and possible action to terminate the suspension of board procedural rules and policies for COVID-19 related emergency actions. Mr. Mulligan's brief staff report is located on page 59, and he's available to answer any questions directors may have.
Are there questions from directors for General Manager Mulligan? I see none. I hear none. What I would look for then is a motion to continue consideration of this item to special business at the next regular meeting of the board.
So
There's a motion, and one of those can be taken as a second, Madam Secretary?
Sure can.
Very good. So, Madam Secretary, the roll call vote, please.
Thank you. This is item 10B with a first and second. Director Arnold.
Aye.
Director Conroy.
Aye.
Director Garbarino.
Aye.
Director Giudice.
Yes.
Director Grosboll.
Aye.
Director Hernandez.
Aye.
Director Maston.
Aye.
Director Parr.
Aye.
Director Rabbit's absent. Director Rodoni.
Aye.
Director Snyder.
Aye.
Director Stephanie.
Aye.
Director Thier.
Aye.
Second Vice President Hill.
Yes.
First Vice President Cochran.
Yes.
And President Tirio.
Yes.
Thank you. That's 15 ayes.
Thank you. That motion passes. Next item on the agenda, 10C, is to authorize a resolution of appreciation to Judy Arnold in recognition of her dedicated service as a director on this board. For those of you who may not have heard, this is Director Arnold's last meeting on our board as she ends her service as a Marin County Supervisor on the very last day of this year, December 31st, 2022. Before I say more, I'm going to turn it over to Director Garbarino to say a few words. Director Garbarino. Director Garbarino, take yourself off mute.
Those few short words were so eloquent and all about Judy. Sorry. This is a true honor. Thank you so much, President Tirio, for allowing me to do this. We all want to take a moment to celebrate Judy, her dedication and commitment to the Board of Directors, which began on May 13th, 2011. She ends her service, as was mentioned, with us after serving on the review of officers, nomination of board officers, and Suicide Deterrent System Advisory Committees, as well as being the former chair of the Rules Committee and our current chair of the Transportation Committee. Judy has faithfully served on this board while serving on the Marin County Board of Supervisors as the representative of District 5. Through her esteemed career, Judy has served the community in so many ways. To name a few, she was a member of the Novato City Council, the SMART Board, the Marin County Flood Control and Water Conservation District, and Transportation Authority of Marin. And I bet not many people know that Judy has published children's books as well. She's leaving us with a very long list of accomplishments, as you just heard. And I think her guidance and diplomacy as Marin and on our board has just been stellar. I could truly go on all day talking about Judy, but I want to give others a chance to say a few words. So in closing, on behalf of the board and myself, sincerely, we thank you, Judy. And I want to make the motion to approve a resolution of appreciation for your guidance, your leadership, friendship, all of what you've done for this community. And I would like to also offer that we all go off Zoom, not Zoom, sorry, all unmute, and give Judy a heartfelt round of applause and a virtual standing ovation.
Let's do that first.
Thank you. Thank you.
So we have a motion, and I'm actually going to look for a second before I open this up, because I'm sure plenty of you have things to say. So there are various seconds. Madam Secretary, you have caught one of those, I'm sure. I actually, I see your hand up, Director Thier, but I saw Director Snyder's hand up first a moment ago. Director Snyder, go.
Judy, it's been a pleasure to work with you. I knew Judy before I came on the board, and as a regional rep before I was my political director, and where I covered Sonoma and Marin and Mendocino and Lake, and just had the opportunity to work out there on Measure Q and the widening stuff and TAM and some really contentious issues around Dutra and Quarry expansion and and then they tried to recall the SMART train and stop that. We kind of helped battle that too. And I just, Judy always is very deliberative, and even when you're on opposite sides or have a different opinion, her door is always open, and she always had an ear. And she always came up with good solutions, whether it was, and considered all points of view, whether it's the Quarry or SMART or anything. And I really appreciated watching your leadership the last few years. And I thank you for your service here. It's been a pleasure to serve with you the last 2 years.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you, Director Snyder. Director Thier.
Judy. There's not really words that can express the void that you're going to leave. And I made a lot of comments at the committee meeting yesterday, but I do want to say that, I've known you for a very long time, even before I was on the bridge board or elected here in Tiburon. And you're a role model for women in politics everywhere. The way that you run meetings with grace, with professionalism, the way you let ideas be heard, even though they may be opposite to yours, and just the way that you also make yourself available to talk at any time. I know I've run a lot of things by you, and you've served this board in an amazing way, and we are going to miss you so much. And I really hope that you don't stray too far and that you stay around and stay involved. And I just want to give you a big shout out and let everybody know how wonderful you are, how much I've enjoyed working with you personally and on this board. And I really wish you were not going. So that's about all I can say.
Thank you, Holly.
Thank you, Director Thier. Director Cochran, tell us what you're thinking up there in Del Norte County.
Well, Judy and I go back a long way. We go long before either one of us were on this board. And I certainly appreciated all her candor and in all of her involvement in all the committees and things that we've gone through. And I hope you a lot of good years left, you and the husband, and take life easy. Be retired. All right.
Thank you, Director Cochran. Director Parr.
Yes. I'll try not to get too emotionally involved here. Judy, you know how much I appreciate you. What you probably don't know is that if anyone asks me, and I'll just take SMART as an example, if anyone asks me, like, how do we find out things? I say, talk to Judy. Judy knows everybody. She knows everything. She knows how to solve problems. You are so connected, and you're one of those quiet, under the radar people that just gets things done. And I appreciated it when you were running last time that your email was Judy gets it done, because that's who you are. There are lots of urban legends that go around. Some of them have to do with SMART, and I'll tell just one. That in the middle of the, well, first of all, I know that you were instrumental in bringing Farhad to SMART, with your connections with him and your understanding of his expertise. Although I did hear a rumor that people thought you were Mike Arnold in the beginning. When Mike was our best friend, and we all thought it was your husband. We didn't know it was Bruce. We didn't know Bruce was really your husband. Anyway, I do know things that, for instance, in the middle of the night, one night, you had a meeting with some folks and made sure that Miramonte was gifted to SMART as a mitigation property. It's those kinds of things that I don't think we all know. And at some point in time, we'll all try to get all of those things together, because you've done exactly those same things with the bridge. I know whenever there was a void to be filled at the bridge, it was ask Judy, she'll do it. You always stepped up. The word that I always use is senatorial. I think you're a great model for how to be senatorial in the midst of people who are disagreeing and have different ideologies. So I don't know what to say other than thank you, and you'll be sorely missed. And I hope that someone grabs you in their lobbying firm and makes you the next lobbyist.
Thank you, Barbara.
Thank you, Director Parr. Director Rodoni.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. I wanted to invite you all to join us on Tuesday when we're having a special board meeting to celebrate and honor Supervisor Arnold's career, along with another supervisor who's going to the assembly, and that'll be Tuesday at 9. Any of you that want to join us. I wanted to just mention too that Judy and I have been friends for over 40 years, and I'll talk more about that on Tuesday. So hope to see you there.
Thank you.
Thank you, Director Rodoni.
Can I say something?
Please do.
Okay. Well, first of all, I just want to thank everyone for their wonderful comments. I appreciate it, and I appreciate this organization. I have loved it. And when you mentioned being more like a Senate, it's run so well, and it's just fun to be a part of it. It really is, even the hard things. And everyone that has come through that I have known, I have just liked so much. And I would just end with this, that many of your comments have been that, I'm very, I don't get upset. I listen, and I'm very quiet. And I just want to maybe make a small change to that, just so you know. So one time I had a constituent come in, and when he left, my aide said, you made him cry, Judy. So, you know, I'm not always really soft, and I can make the guys cry if it goes down to it. So just remember. Anyway, I love you all. It's been wonderful, and thank you for everything that you've done for me. And then a thank you for this goodbye today. I'll miss you.
Director Arnold, I don't think we're done with you yet.
Oh God.
I'm going to ask if other board members have things to say. If they don't, I do. So does anyone, anyone else have something to say to Director Arnold?
This is Dick. I would say something.
Please.
You know, as there's 2 or 3 or 4 of us former chairs on this board, and of course Barbara just spoke eloquently about you, Judy. But as a chair, Judy, whatever she was asked of, she would say yes, and she was active in all these committees, as busy as she was on the board, and it was just it's as everybody said already, it was a great joy to work with you, and you were just a great board member. So thank you, Judy.
Thank you, Dick.
Thank you, Director Grossball. Director Hernandez.
Thank you, Mr. President. Congratulations, Judy, and thank you so much. It's been wonderful to serve with you in these last several years. Echo the appreciation for your contributions here, and in admiration of everything that you've achieved politically and otherwise in your community and here on this board. Have always appreciated the way you just sort of have a relaxed approach, and yeah, I believe that you can make the boys cry, and I think it's really important to have that capacity. So good for you. But just thank you so much, and I wish you the best. Many, many wonderful years and days and years ahead of you to enjoy your life and with your family. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Director Hernandez. Are there others? Then it's my turn. First of all, Director Arnold, Judy, I'm going to say I wish Kate Sears were here still.
I know.
Because I mean, back when we were partners in crime,
yes.
I noted Kate's real affection for you, and I think she'd have wonderful things to say here, and probably a lot of unfortunate stories she could tell about you that none of us know. I have to say, you've been just a radiant presence on this board, but in the last couple of days, you know, you've glowed even more, and so I know that you know the pressure that you have to have been under in the offices you've held, including this one, you know, that's going away. Now it's time to relax. Now it's time to enjoy yourself, and I really hope you do. So thank you, Director Arnold.
Thank you, President Theriault.
You're quite welcome. We need a vote on this, I think, Madam Secretary.
We do. We have a first and second under this one already for item 10C. And Director Arnold, I just want to give you a special shout out to say thank you for everything and thank you for your support, but also a real good shout out to Tanya and also Leslie.
Yeah, I know. They're staying on with the new supervisor.
Thank you.
Yes.
So we'll start with you, but I'm going to probably have you abstain from voting for yourself.
Okay.
Okay.
Good.
So I'm going to mark you down as abstention. Then we'll move on to Director Conroy.
And heartiest congratulations.
Thank you.
Director Giudice.
Yes, and congratulations.
Director Grossbull.
Yes.
Director Hernandez.
Aye.
Let's see. We have Director Meston.
Aye, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Don't do too much too soon when you retire.
Yes, right. I won't.
I'm going to circle back. I think I skipped over Director Garbarino.
Aye, lovingly, Judy.
Thank you so much, Patty.
Director Parr.
Well, I thought at one time that if I voted no, that meant she wouldn't go, but I don't think that's going to hold. So I'll vote aye. Thank you, Judy.
Thank you, Barbara.
I would rule that vote out of order anyway.
Director Evan is absent. Director Redoni.
Aye.
Director Snyder.
Yes, thank you.
Director Stephanie.
Aye, and congrats.
Director Thier.
Aye.
Second Vice President Hill.
Yes, I want to thank you for giving me a fine example on Transportation Committee. Thank you very much.
Thank
Yes.
you, Bert.
First Vice President Cochran.
Yes.
And President Terrio.
Yes, congratulations.
You have 14 ayes.
Okay, 14 ayes, it passes. But now we actually have to turn things over to Director Arnold for a report as chair of the nomination of officers.
Oh, God.
You are on the spot, Chair Arnold. Please,
Okay. Is this page 13?
That's correct.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, President Terrio. As chair for the nomination of officers of the Board of Directors Advisory Committee, I am pleased to report that our committee met yesterday, December 14th, that was 2 days ago, and voted to continue the current slate of board officers for the second of a 2-year term. That slate is President Michael Terrio of San Francisco, First Vice President Gerald Cochran of Del Norte, and Second Vice President Bert Hill of San Francisco. Thank you to my fellow committee members for making the time to meet, and I'd like to make the first motion to move the slate of officers.
Thank you so much, Director Arnold. And there's a second.
Great.
Are there questions or comments from board members on this recommendation? I see none. Very good. Madam Secretary, is there anyone from the public who wishes to speak on this?
I'm checking now. We have no speakers on this item.
No speakers on this item. So
Can I second it?
There's a second already, I think, but
okay.
Yeah. And you did catch a second, correct, Madam Secretary?
I did.
Okay. So then lead us into a roll call vote, please.
All right. Voting on item 10D, starting with Director Arnold.
Aye.
Director Conroy.
Aye.
Director Garbarino.
Aye.
Director Giudice.
Yes.
Director Grosboll. Director Grosboll is no longer on the call. Oh, there. Oh, hang on a second. He is rejoining us right now as we speak. I'll circle back to Director Grosboll. I'll circle back to Director Grosboll. Director Hernandez.
Aye.
Director Maston.
Aye.
Director Parr.
Aye.
Director Rabbit is absent. Director Rodoni.
Aye.
Director Snyder.
Aye.
Director Stephanie.
Aye.
Director Thier.
Aye.
Okay, and then I'm going to go back to Director Grosboll. Director Grosboll, you there?
Yes, I vote yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. Going back to Second Vice President Hill.
I guess I don't need to recuse myself, so yes.
First Vice President Cochran.
I'll vote yes also.
And President Terrio.
Following the examples of Vice Presidents Hill and Cochran, I will vote yes.
All right, then you have a unanimous vote.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair Arnold. Thank you, everyone. This item is adopted. Before we move to item 11, unfinished business, which is a closed session report on 2 matters. I want to thank everyone who has attended for their patience during this meeting. The public is going to go into a waiting room. The YouTube live stream will be suspended while we're in closed session. Mr. Manolius, it's yours to take us into closed session.
Thanks, President Terrio. At this time, the board will go into closed session on 2 items as listed in the agenda. First, for a conference with the legal counsel for existing litigation pursuant to Government Code 54956.9A, and that's the Walker case is listed on the agenda. Second, there will be a conference with legal counsel about anticipated litigation pursuant to Government Code 54956.9D2, and that's for a potential case with the Shimmick Company as listed on the agenda. And we'll report out on both of those at the end as opposed to coming out of them in the middle. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Manolius. Madam Secretary?
All right, directors, stay on this Zoom, and I'm going to announce when we're in closed session. I'm going to put the public line in a waiting room.
Thank you.